Welcome to the Underground, my little underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. This week on the show, we have Nicole Matarese, fellow Long Islander and all-around creative. She's a writer, actor, producer, director, and former podcaster. She now has a Substack called Nicole Writes Words, and we get into where Nicole's creative passion lies and how she supports independent film creators. Please help me welcome Nicole Matarese to My Little Underground.
My little underground.
So you're a writer, actor, producer, director, and you just said former podcaster, which is really cool.
Thank you.
And now, you share a lot of flash fiction on your Substack. Quote,
Yeah.
Nicole Writes Words.
Yeah.
Very simple, right to
I
the
know,
point.
yeah, very creative of me indeed. Yeah, that's where I get the most creative.
Where have you found the most community with some of your fellow like-minded creatives?
Instagram is a great way that I connect with like new people. Anyone that like I don't know, tends to do anything creative wise or like particularly like cinema or writing. I'll follow them on there. And I also am a part of a writing group here in New York called the NYC Laid Back Writing Group. And I've met a lot of fellow creatives there. Oh, and I also go to lately have been going to Bushwick Film Collective and meeting a lot of creative filmmakers there. Yeah, it's always cool new ways to meet people. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like, writing is maybe where your passion lies the most. Is that fair to say?
I think so. That and
Yeah.
acting, I'd say the two, like, kind of depends on the day, but those two are those two are close by.
Okay. But let's start with your journey with podcasting. What brought you to the medium at first? And, generally speaking, maybe not now, maybe sometime in the future, do you feel yourself returning to that medium at all? Or are you just kind of I did what I needed to do and now I'm done?
I'll start off with answering your last question. I actually just got hired on for a new job that isn't podcasting, but I'm a host of a live stream show, and undoubtedly my history in podcasting has led to my skills in that. So I have, in a way, returned to, let's not call it podcasting, but like live, live streaming, using a mic, talking to an audience. Um, and what got me into podcasting in the first place is that my friend James reached out to me during lockdown and a few other people, and we're like, you know what, we're not all not doing anything. But I've been watching so many animated shows, and it'd be great for us all to like get together. Would you be interested in doing a podcast together where each week we talk about the shows and have a good time? And like, of course, it was like a great way to socialize during lockdown because oh my gosh, what a tough time that was for socializing in general. And like for everyone that was doing podcasts during that time, like kudos because it was such a good idea to like make sure to like stay social that way and have a nice time with your friends that way. And I definitely feel like particularly talking about something so light and fun like animated shows was a great thing for us because like of course like lockdown was a super heavy time for like everyone. A lot of tough things were going on at the time. So to just like channel it into something so light and like easy to talk about like animated shows was really, really nice. And super nostalgic and all that. And it came super easily that way. We were just talking about something that we all were familiar with, of course, and like we're all creatives ourselves and filmmakers and know each other like from the scene. So and yeah. So what was I gonna say there? I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, just to say that's what got me into podcasting. Um and yeah, I mean I have considered like having a podcast of my own again in the future. I put that on hold, but would certainly like consider doing that again. It's always something I like consider going back to.
What would you, if you started a podcast again, what would it focus on?
I know it's like a little basic, but I feel like it would just be me like talking to my friends. Like the focus like would kind of just be like us just like myself and probably a fellow creative because I just know so many people like that, but just like talking about the creative, our creative lives and just like, just having a good old chit chat, day in the life type thing.
It's great. There's something basic about that.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
Sometimes the best ideas are simple. you know?
Yeah, just having a good old chat, just that.
So let's talk about your other love, your other main passion in acting. Most notably, some of your recent, just your IMDb is extensive, but some of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
some of your recent roles, Curse of the Weredeer, you
Yeah, yeah.
played Sam O'Brien, and
Yeah.
T-Day, you
Yeah.
played Una. Tell me about these roles and
hmm
these characters and how you got involved with these projects.
So Curse of the Weird, there's a long story. I'm more than happy to go into every single detail. So James Boyle and I had met so I'll start from the top with him. We met through my mutual friend Lindsay back in 2015. He and I are both from Long Island. Peter, I know you are too. So we're
Yep,
all Long Islanders, Strong Island, let's go.
love it.
Yeah, yeah, and James and I would just talk. So I had recently graduated from college where I studied screenwriting and was in like the cinema department there and was actually building up my student film resume at that time and whatever. And so James and I connected through our mutual friend Lindsay because he went to high school with her, and Lindsay's my best friend from college. So James and I would just talk about movies, and I promise this relates to Curse the Weird Year. We'll get there. Yeah. So James and I would just talk about movies all the time. And then one day, like James was like, "Yeah, I got into New York Film Academy." I was like, "James, I didn't know you were like gonna really pursue film." Like, and he's like, "Nicole, we talk about it all the time." I'm like, "Oh yeah." So anyway, so he got into New York Film Academy, and he went there. I actually had the honor of acting in his capstone short. You guys could all check that out. I think it's online. Days That Fade is what it's called. That was back in 2016. I actually saw him recently. He's like, it's 10 years on Days That Fade. I was like, that's crazy. So yeah. So the reason I bring that up is that then James started getting into Trauma, which is for those that don't know, independent cinema, company. The Toxic Avenger is their flagship, and they actually had so the Toxic Avengers, like their original work came out in, oh goodness, do I know the year? 70s, 80s. I want to say it's the 80s. So just, go ahead and check me on that. But anyway, and then actually a new Toxic Avenger movie just came out last year in 2025, and that one had Peter Dinklage in it and Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood. It was like a very big deal. So anyway, yeah. So James had gotten into trauma movies and was working on set with those folks and everything. And I was like, James, I think this is something I'd like want to get involved in. Like this seems super cool. Like I'm like at the time I was like acting more in like sketch comedy and doing a ton of that here in New York. And I was like, yeah, like you seem to have a really good thing going on with trauma. Like, could I get involved in that? And he's like, yeah, yeah. Like, so a friend of mine, Brandon, is working on slashing the final beginning. I'll reach out to him, see if you could activate in that. And so I did. I acted in the movie. I had two scenes. And one of the scenes was with Lloyd Kaufman, who's the co-founder of Trauma. So that was super cool to like actually act like with him. And you can check that out on Trauma now. So yeah, so James is like, always been one to like look out for me. We're still good pals. I saw him just a few weeks ago. And so I moved out to LA, lockdown happened, which like stinks so much. And like I had mentioned, James reached out about Totally Tunular. So he reached out to myself, Leo, and Ben. And so the four of us and James, yeah, so James, so the four of us hosted Totally Tunular together. We're recurring every week. We'd host it. And Ben is Ben Johnson, who is the director of Curse of the Weredeer. And at the time, Ben would talk, and everyone, all those guys worked on a trauma movie together. And I hadn't worked on that movie, but like was in the trauma scene, so we got to know each other like more and more through the show and everything. And then, Ben throughout the duration of Totally Tunular talks about Curse of the Weredeer that he's working on and developing. And one thing leads to another, and I'm like, I'll come like work on the movie. I'd love to do that. And Ben was like, actually, I think there's a role you do really well in. Sam O'Brien, she's a newscaster. So do you want to go ahead and play that role? And I was like, great, yeah, sure, sounds good. Yeah, I flew out to like the Nashville, Tennessee area. Like not exactly Nashville, Tennessee, but that like general region is where we filmed. So flew there from California. Had the absolute time of my life. Because that was like a post-lockdown like set. So I think we're all just like so enthused to like be socializing and like spending time. Like I think you could when you watch Curse of the Weird Year now, and you could feel like the love that we all like have for one another. Also, so this is super sad. So I hadn't met him, but so there's an original Weredeer trailer, and the lead of the original Weredeer trailer, which is like a short, his name is Blade Braxton. He has passed away, unfortunately, R.I.P. And was a super dear friend to so many people that have worked in trauma in general. So I think that this was like a great like homage to him, and like a way like we all like came together, and there's like a lot of like love and like patience and support on that film. And yeah, it was like a great time to work on it all together. We had like so much fun. Um and it's like really kind of had some great like legs over the past few years. So it won Best Feature at a film festival in the Netherlands, which is great. It has shown in Japan, Italy. I think as of now it's soon showing in Long Beach, California. Troma had this this event going on throughout the country called Hands Across Tromerica, and they were showing it like through that. And also, this is one of my favorite things about it. Was it last year? Yeah, last year it showed at the Museum of Moving Image, right in New York, which is my favorite museum here.
That's in
And
Queens,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right in
Right.
Queens, yeah.
Mhm.
So that was super cool to like see that and to be on that big screen and everything. And my parents went, and my parents met Lloyd Kaufman, which was cool. My dad and Lloyd became like best buddies, which was really cute. My dad like didn't realize how famous that Lloyd was. It was like, like, oh my gosh, like, who you kind of remind me of? You kind of remind me of Mel Brooks. And I don't think my dad like realized that like Lloyd gets that like all the time. It was like very funny. And they, and I've seen Lloyd since, and he's like, how's your dad? Which is very, very sweet of him to ask. So yeah, so that's the deal with Curse of the Weredeer. Everyone should check it out. It's on Trauma now. Um,
Well,
and
wait, how can people watch this?
Okay, oh sorry, yeah. So Trauma has its own streaming service called Watch called sorry, called Trauma Now. So the first month is free, and then from there it's $5, which is still, I mean, now streaming services are like getting pretty pricey. That's like an affordable streaming service these days. So, check it out. It's like if you like Trauma, and if you like independent horror, that's their thing. So you could check that out. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the first month is free though.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
send me the link so I can put in the episode description.
oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I will. And then so that's Curse of the Weredeer. That's a feature. Um, and then T-Day. T-Day was a super fun time. So I had okay, so I'll start from the top with that one too. I had met Sarah at Comic-Con actually a couple years ago. We had connected like so I had mentioned before I'm like always connecting with fellow creatives on Instagram, right? And so I had the pleasure of going to Comic-Con finally after wanting to go for like my entire life. And I have to say, I found it I lo don't get me wrong, I love Comic-Con. I have anxiety and like found it so anxiety inducing, and was what do I like do? Like I'm like so overwhelmed, whatever. And like I connected with Sarah, and she was like super helpful and was like, there's like actually like a quiet room in at Comic-Con. You could like chill, and we could like meet up there. And we actually chilled like a decent amount like in the quiet room. And then I met George, who's a friend of Sarah's at Comic-Con, in the quiet room too. Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know that about like Comic-Con, there's a quiet room that you could just go and like kind of gather yourself at, because it is like very overstimulating and there's a lot going on. Which again, love it, like love all of it. But like if you need like some time just to like be in your own, zone, that exists. So yeah, chilled
That's
with
awesome. That's good to
yeah.
know.
Yeah, yeah. So chilled with Sarah and George, whispering, of course, in the quiet room, which was nice. And so we realized like, oh, we're all like filmmakers, like this is great. Like, well, they've invited me to a lot of like film events and all that stuff, which I really appreciate. And so they were like, like I forget exactly how the conversation went, but essentially they were like, oh, Nicole, we got this, like, we're gonna do a 48-hour film challenge. The to be involved in other film challenges, you have to like pay to be a part of it. So we're actually gonna do like our own like unofficial one. So would you like to like be a part of it? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like great. So um yeah, so that film T-Day was made so with like that challenge in mind in 48 hours. So they had written it and shot it and edited it all within 48 hours. And I was
And this was
there.
post lockdown. right?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
This was this last year? I want to say this was 20 the top of 2025 actually. Yeah. So this was yeah, this is the top of 2025, I want to say. Um and yeah, so I was on so it was like, over a weekend, and on Saturday we shot, and Saturday I acted as Una. And yeah, and that's been getting good, that's been getting out there too, a ton of festivals and stuff like that. And I went to what was it called? I want to say the Great Film Club showed it here in New York last year, and I went to that, and that was a really excellent event. And met a lot of really nice people there. So yeah, that was super duper fun. And I didn't work on this one, but they created another short within 48 hours too, called Wham. That's also really good and is making the festival circuit. So everyone should check out both those movies. And yeah, because they're really awesome people and make really awesome stuff. So yeah, it's a good time.
So the characters that you played in both Curse of the Weredeer and T-Day, um, how did you like connect with each character, and which
Yeah.
character do you felt like I don't want like to put the two movies together, but what character did you felt more connected to that you were able to express
Yeah.
more?
Oh, so okay, so I'll go ahead, and I'm sorry, I forgot you had asked about the characters before too. Yeah, so I love character work. I would definitely say, okay, so no offense to Una at all, but Una is a villain. Una is
Wow.
not Una
Okay.
is not nice, and like don't get me wrong, it's like fun to like it's fun to play a villain because you can kind of like lean into like the like ridiculousness of it. Like I actually feel like my comedic background helped me lean into a villain because I got to be kind of like I don't know, just like ridiculous, you know what I mean? But so I would say Sam O'Brien because Sam O'Brien is like not really a villain at all. Sam O'Brien is just this like really like what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm not thinking of the word right now, but like this she's like a newscaster that wants to kind of like I guess show off, and like I wouldn't say I want to show off, but like I like to impress, you know what I mean? Like something like that. So I think that's like what Sam O'Brien kind of wants to do. Um so that's like what I kind of leaned into. Like she wants to be like a big fish in a small pond, I think. And I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing both roles. The thing about Sam O'Brien was this is okay. So before lockdown. So I had moved out to LA in September of 2019. Little did I know what was going to happen, of course, right? My timing was like what it was. So at the top of 2020, so way before people like knew what was going to happen at all, I signed up for improv level A at Groundlings, which is in Los Angeles, an incredible improv and like comedy school in general. And the way Groundlings does things is like they're like all about character work and like tapping into your character where like other improv schools will really like focus on like game, like that's their thing. Groundlings focuses on character. So I took like this entire improv class on character and loved it and learned so much from it. And then like, come what was it, March 2020, couldn't do absolutely anything with it. So then finally I got to have like an acting role, which was Sam O'Brien. And I was like, well, I've just been like sitting on this, like, all this like stuff I learned from Groundlings Improv A about character. I'm going to use this all right now. And so it was so like, I think I had like a lot of like enthusiasm to just like jump out like the screen with this like strong character work. And Ben Johnson's always like, whoa, like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah, like I just kind of like had that like, ready to go. And I did use that in Una too. So Una actually doesn't have too many lines, but she has like I like was all vibe with her. I have a few lines, of course, but like like again, tapping into like any character I do play, like no matter how many words they say on screen, I'm like the vibe is here. I'm this character, here they are. So yeah, it's super fun to act that way, I mean, like, yeah, and just bring whoever they are to life.
So let me ask you something about the independent film space.
Okay.
I've always been curious about this. So any movie that you've worked on, right? Um, once it's fully ready to go, is it then sent off to festivals? And after it's sent to festivals, do you then publish it and release it to wherever it's going to go? Or is it simultaneous or is it one or the other? Just Help me understand
Yeah.
that.
So it will certainly vary, and I wouldn't want to speak for the filmmakers that are doing that because I'm acting in them. I'm not um like I'm not the one that is actually doing the submitting and all that like, work, and I really respect the folks that are because it's certainly a lot of work and a lot to do. So but my understanding my understanding of it, and again, this is not to say this is what happens for everyone, but like, you know, on occasion, let's say, you make the film, you don't put it online, you instead submit it to festivals. Like I think a lot of festivals want it to not, if I'm not mistaken, I think they want it to not be online if they're showing it. It hits the festival circuit, it does its thing, runs all around, and then you put it either online or to streaming or something like that. I mean, I think when it comes to like this and then this, so that's like very like very base level stuff. Then when it comes to more like if you want to get on like bigger streaming services, I'm not going to act like I know how that goes because I think there's way more to it than something like that, like a Shudder or Amazon or something. I think there's way more to things like that. But that's certainly to say there are plenty of independent work that get on those streaming services. So it is of course attainable. I just don't know the nuances of it.
So, like for yourself, let's say you're going to work on a movie. You write something, you get it, you film it, and then you're ready to put it out.
Mhm.
Would you go that route? Would you send it to festivals, or would you just like put it on Vimeo or YouTube and just like
I
off
would,
to the races?
I would personally. Oh,
Yeah,
well, that de it depends on a lot. It would depend on how much money I put into it, how much time I put into it. Like, let's say there was a film I made that really didn't take that much. I'm thinking about it because there's like definitely benefits. So I'll just kind of go through all the, you know what, let's go with the choose your own adventure. Let's go all the different routes, right? Um, okay, so let's say I didn't spend that much time and money on a short, and I just was like, you know what? I want this to get in front of as many eyes as possible. I want to rack up the views, as many views as possible, because I certainly see the benefit in that too. Um, then yeah, sure, I would put that right to YouTube and try to get, maybe try to get some like yeah, as many views on that, or maybe even right to Instagram, to be honest with you, like a reel, depending on how like the medium I want to show it on. But then, I mean, if I also wanted to, maybe get more laurels on it, and um, that would of course come with sending it off to the festival circuit and all that stuff, and then I could put it online, be like, okay, it's been in this festival, this festival, this festival. You know what I mean? And kind of
yeah.
promote it online that way. I mean, if I, let's say, this is totally hypothetical because I don't have the money or time for this right now, but if I were to make a feature independent movie right now, like at this moment, I would 100% not put it right online, and I would send it around to the festival circuit personally. But that being said, I know that there's actually okay, so I have a producer. So uh yeah, let me start with what I was gonna say, and then I'll go back to what I was gonna say after that. I do have a producer credit on a Friday the 13th fan film, which is called Never Hike Alone 2. And I understand the benefit of them going right to YouTube because they have like, I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure it's millions of views on YouTube at this point. And like, so I understand the benefit of them just being like, let's just put it. And they have already had and have like a big audience. So I understand it going right there. Um, and I want to comment too, yeah, speaking of that, I have a ton of producer credits and a lot of them are from me. So okay, during lockdown, right? Like there wasn't a lot to do, right? So I became really privy about learning about like Indiegogos and Kickstarters of independent films, and like became more familiar with different filmmakers and like which are ones that have like made already cool independent films and stuff. And then like I had enough like saved up from like not because like during lockdown it's not like we could all like go out and like go out to dinner together or anything, right? So I was like saving a ton of money, so I had money to spend, so I put like a decent amount of funds to get producer credits on independent films that were campaigning on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. So a lot of that, like I have produced myself, but like more often than not, my producer credits are from like giving like a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there, sometimes more that I won't go into, but like yeah. So I don't have the funds for that anymore because like now I'm like out like that was like I said, that was like lockdown savings. Now I'm out and about doing things. I'm just spending differently. But Never Hike Alone 2 is an example of exactly that. And that was a good way for me to like stay like in the scene even in lockdown and like still network with people, build connections on Instagram, and also get like my name out there because my name's on a ton of independent films now too. And actually I have a friend who like I believe it was Swamp Woman is the name of the movie. They were like watching it and it was like, "Oh my gosh, Nicole, I see your name in the credits." I'm like, "I know, that's why I did that." So yeah. So yeah, I wish I still had the like kind of money to just like support independent film that way. I do not, but I'm still supporting by like like I'll go to, like Bushwick Film Collective, like and like people will like show their like I'll just support like in person. Like I'll go like to a film screening like in person. Yeah,
Great.
exactly. And like all that stuff. Yeah, yeah. And I stay involved in the scene like that way. Um,
Yeah, every
or like
musician I like in the New York music scene, I'm not buying everybody's album on
yeah,
Bandcamp. I
right.
may go to a show, I may interview them or something like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, there's
There's
other
many ways
ways.
to show, yeah, there's many
Yeah.
ways to show support.
It's so true. And actually, I went to a it was this was really cool. I went to a fundraiser a few months ago for a film too. Like they were straight up like they had like a get together at like a bar like lounge type spot, and it was like you buy like a $25 ticket and go like hang out with everyone, and the money goes to the film. So yeah, there's a ton of cool ways to do that. Yep, absolutely.
I love that. You're so involved in your creative community. You're making it, you're being a part of it, and you're showing support however you can, which is awesome. um so Comic-Con, right? You
Mm.
said going there can be very overwhelming and overstimulating, right?
Yeah.
So how do you compare that to a film set? Because I imagine it's probably just as overwhelming and stimulating.
Uh, I mean, that's a really good question. I guess like I more times than not have acted on set where like, so it's other people who I applaud so much that are doing like the running around and this, that, and the other as far as like what it is that's like overwhelming and overstimulating. You know what I mean? They're the ones getting the set together. A lot of the times, myself as an actor is me. It's like I feel like a lot of acting is like, and I'm sure other actors could speak to this too. Maybe they kind of feel differently about this. My experience is it's a lot of waiting, which is a space to be at peace and just be like patient and like chill out.
I've heard
Um,
that.
yeah, and I have I'm not saying that in any sort of way. Like I have no problem with that. I like that. You know what I mean? You could like chill out. If you have lines, of course you read over your lines a bit, or you like, network with other actors on set and just like, or like even just like talk to them about their lives and everything. Where like, yeah, Comic-Con, I was like, at Comic-Con, I was like up on my feet and like navigating. I was like spending so much money and like all that stuff. So I'd say that was like the difference. I mean, like I said, I loved Comic-Con. I had a really great time. I just like had not anticipated how much would truly be going on and was really happy about the quiet room there where I could just like zone out in the quiet room.
You
So,
know what?
yeah.
Let me tell you, I love record collecting. I love
Nice.
vinyl. I love physical music. I gotta say, I love going to record stores instead of like record you know, record fairs because it's so overstimulating because
Yeah.
there's so many people gathering around one vendor and you kind of feel people kind of on top of you. It's very overstimulating and it's
Oh, okay.
kind of
Yeah.
like it makes me a little uneasy. So yeah, I definitely see that. Because yeah, you're just waiting around as opposed to like at a Comic-Con, I
Yeah.
can imagine. I've never been to one, but there's so many things happening at the same time. People
Yeah.
talking. There's yeah, conferences or talks, and then there's people dressing up. It's a lot happening.
Yeah. It feels like a very busy, I mean, I definitely recommend going. And I would definitely go again. I want to go again. It feels like a very busy mall. I think it's a good way to
Mm,
be
yeah.
like you're in you feel like you're at a mall and a very very busy one. Um I mean I like I said I loved it and I've always wanted to go, so I was happy to go. I just was did not realize that. Oh, something else I want to mention too, actually. They also had, and this is the New York one. I'm sure the San Diego one has it too. They also had a prayer room, so similar vibe. Right,
Wow.
the prayer room was right next to the quiet room, so both rooms to, to be at peace, chill out. Definitely very good to know, when going to Comic-Con that those are both accessible to people for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about some of your writing. Specifically your Substack, Nicole Writes Words. Um, Most of it is short stories.
Mhm.
What do you find most compelling about putting out flash fiction?
Wow, the most compelling. Wow, I'm actually surprised at how stumped I am about that. I sometimes it's so I okay. I studied both fiction and screenwriting, and I love both very much. Um, with screenwriting, there's a lot of editing and a lot of time that goes into it, and it's a great art form and it's super nice to I actually just recently started a screenplay and I'm enjoying very much the patience of it. But of course there is a patience of it. Like you're when you go into it, you know that. The great thing about flash fiction, it's like that's exactly what it is. It's you're writing just a quick little thing, getting it out there. So I think that there's a lot of like it feels very cathartic, just kind of like sit down in like one session, just kind of get this thing out that's like purposely going to be really, really short and then it's out there into the world. So I think I really like that. How much of it I could kind of just like do because if I just like have like yeah, like I said, like one sitting here, one sitting there, one sitting another, so on and so forth, then I can get a decent amount of writing out to the world. Um, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I go ahead and I put that on my LinkedIn. It's nice to like market myself that way. I mean, to be honest, like, and to show the world like that I am a writer and that I'm staying busy writing. I try not to put too much pressure on myself that way though. Like if I go a few weeks without getting a piece out there, I'm like, all right, this is like a part of the creative process, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you're just like writing, writing, writing. Other times you're just like chilling out more so and getting ready to write your next thing. Um, so yeah, I guess the frequency, I mean, but that being said, yeah, I guess the frequency of it is like the most exciting and compelling part to me. Is like, I could just like not even expect to have a piece written by the end of the day. And then the next thing I know, I'm like sitting at a coffee shop, an idea comes in, I'm writing something out, then it's out there, and then I'm like promoting it on Instagram, like, oh, I have like a new piece. So yeah, it's you know, good way to stay um like to stay creative and to put things out there and not have to wait too long for it to like come to fruition. So it's very nice that
Yeah, it
way.
kind of flexes that muscle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And like, in the age of uh we've kind of spoken like, the age of AI,
Yeah,
it's more important than ever to keep writing yourself. So yeah, so it's good. Yeah.
exactly. Um, I want to highlight your three-part series,
Thanks.
Spa Getaway from Your Own Mind.
Yeah, thank you.
And the main character, Chloe, from my perspective, you don't have to tell me every single detail, but let me know if you agree with my perspective on
Okay.
Chloe. Is Chloe simply trying to just find escape from the pressures of life, or is just subject to interpretation?
No, you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the
Oh,
head. Yeah, no, because you know what? It's like because like I no, that's exactly right. Because you know what? I'll be like walking around in the world, just be like, oh my gosh, I have this bill to pay. I have this job to apply for. I have this person to text back. I have this thing to eat. I like it's like even just like all the little things throughout the day of like what you're going through, and then it's like bigger picture. It's like oh, but like you know, I want to. Will I ever own a house? Like will I ever like you know what I mean? It's like all these like things that one could like think about um all day. And it's like well, what if I could just not. Just like not, just like have some time to just not think at all and like put it all just like away. And so that's exactly what, yeah, Chloe was like hoping to do. It's like, what could I just have like a couple hours to not, I mean, in your words, like, yeah, can I have a couple hours just like not think about the pressures of life and just like float on in the water? So yeah, that's exactly right. Because sometimes we just like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I could have like a million racing thoughts at the same time, and I'm like, enough. I'm like, just enough. So yeah,
Oh my God. I
yeah,
can't begin to tell you. You know
yeah.
what's really good? I don't know if you heard of this place in Jersey, Sojo.
That does sound familiar.
Oh my God. If you want to just escape the pressures of life and
Yeah.
you
Okay.
got a little bit of money to spend,
Okay.
you will feel so relaxed after coming out of it.
Okay.
That's
Thank
all
you
I
so
gotta
much.
say. I'll
Nice.
send you a link after we wrap.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
something else.
You know
It's
what's
worth
funny?
it. Yeah.
I feel like I have heard of that, and maybe for a birthday gift to myself or something, I'll do something like that. So thank you. There's a spot in wait, so there's one in Manhattan. I don't remember the neighborhood. There's one in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Bathhouse is the spot. I haven't
Okay.
gone, but I've wanted to. Just like a place to just like chill out. I think it's like, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw it was like 50 a day, which I was like, okay, like that's not so bad actually for like something like that.
It
I
really
did,
isn't. No.
yeah, for like you just have like a day to yourself. And I've been meaning to do that as well, and just haven't. But yeah, Bathhouse is the name of the spot. It seems super like trendy and cool too, and I'm pretty sure they have like a restaurant in there. I could be wrong about that, but I think I've seen people there like eating and stuff when I pass by, so it seems really cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about your director chops. I
Okay.
watched Naturally Unnatural,
Okay.
and you wrote the script to that, right? And you directed it as well?
With someone else, yes.
Okay. This was fascinating because I'm not gonna give it away to, folks listening, but you think it's about one thing,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of right at the end sharply changes all of your assumptions. I loved it. I think that's really, really cool. Is that something that I'm not gonna say it's a trope, but it's like kind of a device that you plan on incorporating in your future work?
So I feel like honestly my flash fiction, and I want to say the concept was by the co-writer and co-director. So shout out to them because they did a really good job with that concept, and not spoil anything about that. Um, I'd say in my flash fiction, I certainly try to do that. And I actually recently wrote on my Substack that I write in zigzags. And I like the unpredictable. I mean, director that I really love. I think a lot of people really, really love him. Is David Lynch.
Yeah.
Actually, I know a lot of people really love him because he's David Lynch, for crying out loud. Uh, and I think his work was like the definition of unpredictable and atmospheric and experimental, and kind of like you'd watch it and you're like, what was that? And you and I have spoken about it too, like Black Mirror, like you paid me the very nice compliment of calling my writing like a comedic Black Mirror. And I think Black Mirror is like very unpredictable, and like very like, yeah, that kind of like, you don't know where something's going to go and then it goes another way. And actually my dad had said that about one of my flash fiction pieces on Substack. He's like, sometimes you just don't know where it's going to go. And I'm like, you know, like the unpredictability of it. And I think that, something about like I was actually thinking about this earlier. I was on a long walk and I was thinking to myself about how horror and comedy are both like genres that I really like and have like experience in. And it is like, and I've heard this from someone else that, they both have that level of like shock to them. And I think like that shock is like an unpredictable thing too. Like, like when you laugh at a joke, um, I think it's because you weren't expecting like, someone to say what they said and it was like, oh my gosh, wait, that's such a good point, or oh my gosh, that's ridiculous, or something like that. And same kind of deal with like horror. So yeah, I love you know, but then again, it's like I say that, but then I'll also like watch a rom-com that moves at a pace that everyone's expecting, and then the two fall in love at the end, and I'm like, I know that was predictable, but that was really cute and really nice. So like I do
I
like,
I like
it's
what
like
makes
that's
to
nice,
me if
yeah.
it makes sense for the two to fall in love, great. Even if you saw
Yeah.
it coming, if it
Yeah.
to me I like with things that, logically make sense, not just because if you're unpredictable for the sake of being unpredictable, that's terrible.
Yeah. Fair
But
enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Good
your
point.
work it follows a line. It's logically makes sense, but then you're just like, whoa, it challenges you in a way, not in a
Yeah.
pretentious way. Just it challenges you to kind
Yeah.
of think outside the box a little bit, which is cool. I love
Thanks.
that.
Thank you. And I do have to say, I like, I do think I would try my hand at directing again sometime. Directing is so tough. Like, and look, I don't mean to
Hmm.
say that as like writing and acting are also so tough. I just like hadn't realized how much like more those, like those are just things I like perhaps tap into for whatever reason a bit easier. Maybe it's just like those like skill sets. Directing is like I applaud directors so much. I mean, writers and actors of course too, but like directing is I mean that takes like a certain level of like brain space and brain exercise and brain skill that like if I were to direct again, I think I'd really need to like I don't know, like get into the headspace for that because that is like it's really tough. Really tough.
Yeah. Well, Nicole, it's always been great talking to you. You have such like a wealth of knowledge in different aspects of, either filmmaking, acting, podcasting, and just writing and anything in general.
Thank
So
you.
I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future, and please use this time to, of course, you know, I'm going to have things linked in the episode description. Whatever you want to send me, just send it over. But yeah, here's the time to let people know where people could follow you, read your stuff, watch your stuff, what have you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. So yeah, so I'm on Instagram underscore gabagool ghoul, because I'm Italian and I love horror. And lately on my Instagram, I've been actually been doing more reels than ever lately, and it's been really fun. I do a lot of reels about like fitness and just like being silly and stuff. So check that out. Then I do have a Substack. Peter, as you mentioned, thank you very much for saying that at Nicole Writes Words. Just like very silly. And I honestly, it's funny. I was actually like sitting there for a while, being like, what's my handle gonna be? How do I want to promote myself? And I was like, well, I will be writing words, so I'll just go ahead and go with that. So yeah, so that's my Substack. Check that out. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I'll send you the link. I had mentioned Trauma Now, their streaming service. Go ahead and watch that. That's where you could find Curse of the Weredeer. And I think that's everything for now, really. Yeah. Thank you so much, Peter. It's always so great talking with you,
Yeah,
and you're so
likewise.
creative, and you've always have like a cool perspective on things. And this I've been looking forward to this a lot. So thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
My little underground.